Springs. I'm from Kent Island, Maryland. Just finished up my junior year at Salisbury University with a major in environmental studies, minor in GIS. Real stoked to have you all here today. Hope you all ready to cut down some trees.
Hi, my name is Andrew Thomas. I'm from Springfield, Missouri, and I am currently a junior studying mechanical engineering at the University of Missouri Science Technology. Also really excited to have you guys out here working with us today. Get a lot of good work with this large group.
All right, so we're going to start off today by talking about our forest prescription. So everyone's got an Nalgene. Go ahead, hold that up for me. All right, take a big old sip of water for me. Stay hydrated. And then when you're done, take a look at the bottom of that Nalgene. So the bottom of that Nalgene, the diameter of that is the trees that we're really going for today. Name of the game here is called ladder fuel mitigation. So ladder fuel is all those smaller trees, roughly 6 inches and under, so a little bit bigger than the Nalgene, but it's a good indicator, good visualization. But so yeah, that ladder fuel mitigation, ladder fuel is all those smaller trees that when a forest fire comes through an area like this, the fire is able to climb those trees like a ladder, eventually reach the crowns of all these bigger trees. The crowns are like the tops of the trees. So crown fires are really, really destructive. So we had last year with the Uke Park fire, it took about 6 hours for that fire to go from 0 to 8,000 acres. Crown fires can rip through an area of forest like this very, very quickly. Also, crown fires are destructive because post-fire, fire's all said and done, all the trees are burnt up and gone, so you have nothing holding that soil together, so you get a lot of erosion, flooding, things like that. So we really want to avoid that. So with that ladder fuel mitigation, we're going through and just thinning out the forest, just to kind of get a scope of the project that we've been doing here. We started down by campsite 6 in this back left corner, and what we're doing is doing a big old fire break all the way around the meadow, thinning out a nice ring around the meadow. So when a fire does come through, say it comes through this way, it hits a nice buffer, so the odds of it running up to the cabin or jumping the meadow to the other side are a lot less. So here at Philmont, we're starting to use this term a lot more. It's called a WUI. It's a wild and urban interface. So you may not think of Apache Springs as urban by any means, but if you think of Philmont's backcountry as a whole, we have 11 staff members here, anywhere from 100 to 150 campers rolling through here every day. So this is considered an urban area, and we really are all about asset protection. What do you guys think our biggest asset here at Philmont is? Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so you guys, the people at Philmont, cabins and red roofs. Who cares about red roofs?
I like them.
Say, oh, cabins, stuff like that. No, people are our biggest asset. So asset protection. So, if we do experience a fire when there are participants here, we know that we have a nice fire break around this meadow and this area. It's not completely safe, obviously, but it's a lot safer than some of the other areas at Philmont. I'm sure you guys have seen hiking around a lot of down and dead stuff and really dense forest. So that's what we're all about here. So with that ladder fuel mitigation, back in the 1950s, this area was pretty heavily logged. So the loggers would come through and they would take primarily Douglas fir, which is this guy right here. He's not near as big as what they would cut down, but these Douglas firs, they get really, really big, and the loggers really like them because they don't really lose their diameter going up. They grow and they're really, really big all the way up to the base or the crown of the tree. So they would cut down, they would go through. They would also take some ponderosa pine, things like that. But they would basically go and take the biggest and the best trees, and they left all the kind of like scrubby looking trees. So if we look around, they kind of wiped out the good forest genetics. So we're left with a pretty scrubby forest here. If we look around, we got these two trees that are growing right next to each other, kind of twisting up. No idea how we're going to cut those down, but we'll get there when we get there. We got some trees that are kind of splitting the Ys, like down there, right here. And then we got this tree with some right angles going. Again, not sure what's going on there, but we're going to take it down. But yeah, just walking around, we got pretty poor forest genetics. And Apache Springs and like the South Country of Philmont, we're located in a frequent fire zone. So without any human intervention, this place would burn fairly frequently being 150, 160 years or so. And the fires that would come through were really beneficial. They would basically come and take out that understory, take out all that down and dead stuff, smaller trees, and the forest kind of resets itself. Forest fires are a natural part of any forest succession. We need them. Without them, we have a lot of problems like we have seen over the last couple of years. Y'all remember Paradise, California last year? Yeah. Seeing that in the news? Really, really bad, and that was all a direct result of people not not having the right attitude toward forest fires. So, yeah, again, those fires would come through, and then all the big, strong, healthy trees would survive that fire. And then after the fire in the coming years, the big, strong, healthy trees would kind of spread their genes. And then eventually you would have a stand of forest that was super healthy, a lot of nice trees that are straight up and down. You don't have these trees that are going every which way. And you don't have a very, very like super dense forest. So that's what we're about here, that ladder field mitigation. With that, we have a couple exceptions to what we're cutting down today. So if everyone would turn around and see these two big white bark trees right here. So those are aspen trees. You can tell they're aspens because of the way they are. They're pretty neat, honestly. So we're not going to cut down any aspens today. Aspens are a really cool tree. They're a primary succession tree. So after a forest fire in an area like this, you expect to see aspens, the first ones that pop up. Aspens will grow. Actually, all these trees are connected via root system. They're all one tree. So this tree and those aspens and these aspens down here, all connected via one root system. One aspen tree will release like thousands or millions of seeds actually a year. But the majority of the aspens will grow from little root nodules that will pop up. So really cool tree. They'll live for about 100 years, fall over and die, and all the nutrients in the wood and the leaves and things like that will give way to a mixed conifer forest. That's what we're in right now. Right here, this forest is kind of in transition. We see that we have a lot of, conifer means needle legs, so we got a lot of fir trees. So we have a lot of fir trees. This area is kind of in transition. But looking around, it's kind of cool to see. We got a lot of aspens on this side. We're going to be working down there, so you guys will see that. But a lot of aspens back here, so you can kind of gauge, like, you know, in the past, where a forest fire affected most recently. So we can see, like, here at Apache Springs, like we can tell, forest fire came up this little gully here fairly recently being within the last 120 years or so. So yeah, it's kind of a cool little thing to visualize. So we're not going to cut down any aspens today. Next, we're not going to cut down any pine trees. Really, really important. So you guys all know what pine needles look like? Yeah? Is this a pine tree right here? No. Yeah. All right, so we do not have many pine trees here at Apache Springs, which is unfortunate. Pine trees are pretty cool, especially ponderosas. We have like a couple ponderosas on that side. And honestly, that's about it. We have found one pine tree on this side of the meadow so far. So we want to make sure that we're keeping pine trees, not cutting down any pine trees. And then you see this little shrub thing right here, a little bush. That is Rocky Mountain juniper. We're not going to cut down any of that. That'll only grow about waist height or so, and it does a really, really good job at holding the soil together, which again, we really need that vegetation there to hold the soil together to prevent erosion. Normal juniper trees though, we do not like them here at Philmont. We will take them down anytime that we see them. Andrew and I have walked the site. Luckily, we don't have any here, but a fully grown juniper tree can suck up 80 gallons of water a day. And we had a really bad problem last year with it being so dry. The junipers would just suck up all of our hydrology. And that was a really bad problem last year. So we don't really have to worry about that, but we're not going to cut down any of the Rocky Mountain juniper. Then last but not least, really important, we're not going to cut down anything standing and dead today, all right? Standing dead trees are pretty hazardous to deal with. Andrew and I honestly don't even have the certification and like the training to do it. We'll flag them off and have people that know what they're doing come through and take them down. But I've seen it happen where you go to cut down the standing dead tree and the tree starts falling, top half of that tree snaps off and you got a giant log coming down your head because it's all rotted up top. So keep in mind, you know, if we get the opportunity to fell some trees today, just again, keep that in mind that we're not going to cut down anything standing and dead because they can do all sorts of weird things. So do you guys have any questions with our prescription?
You said the ladder. I noticed like these trees you lopped off all the lower branches. Is that the same concept?
Yeah.
Keep that fire high?
Yeah, so we got this pole saw, which we'll talk about later, but what we'll have one of you guys do, we can kind of pass the tools around, is all the big trees that we're keeping, we still want to go and limb them up as high as we can reach, so to prevent that, you know, kind of fuel load, so if the fire comes through, that there's not all that available fuel. So we'll be doing that today.
Awesome. Can I get one volunteer to help us out with demonstrating safety? Right back there. You can come up here and help us. And turn, face the group. What's your name? Alright, Austin is really excited to come out here, cut some trees down, but he's not safe yet. We want to protect him, make sure he doesn't get hurt on the work site. What kind of things, what do we need to protect on his body? His head, yes. We have at Philmont what we call brain buckets. These blue ones, really nice, have a knob on the back. Turn it right, you can tighten it, turn it left, you can loosen it. So you can fit it snug to your head. So you turn that knob so it fits snug to your head so you can shake your head and it won't fall off. Okay, what is one more thing we might need to protect? Your eyes. Eyes, yes we do. We have two different types of safety glasses here at Philmont. If you have prescription glasses, we have what are called OTGs. They go over your glasses. We ask that if you don't wear prescription glasses, you do not take these because we have a limited supply of them. Are those prescription glasses that you're wearing? Okay, so we're going to ask you to wear these regular safety glasses. Both of our pairs of glasses are rated to Z87, so they're shatterproof. That way, if anything comes flying in your face, it won't crack your glasses, won't hurt you. Yeah.
All right.
One more thing we might need to protect. Hands. Yes. We have got left gloves and right gloves. If you guys have two of the same hand,
Right and the right.
if you guys have two of the same hand, don't worry, we have extra gloves also. You have your own gloves, so you are good. We ask that you keep your gloves on the whole time while we're working, just because we'll be moving around logs or limbs. This will help prevent splinters, cuts, and it will keep all the sap off your hands. You are properly equipped, so you can take a seat now. The last thing we use for safety is not something that we provide. It's something that hopefully you guys brought with you today. And it's your brains and your common sense. Being on a forestry work site, there are a good amount of hazards, especially if somebody's felling a tree. You definitely need to be aware of where you are walking, and the person needs to be aware of where they are cutting their tree to make sure their area is clear. It's also smart not to work too close to each other. That way you don't risk cutting each other. That's no fun. On our work site, there are a decent amount of tripping hazards on the ground. So there's no need to run through our site. We can definitely be walking through our site, still getting a lot of good work done, but it's better to not rush and not hurt ourselves. Definitely bring water over to the work site with us. Leaders should be good. We also have a water spigot right next to the main cabin. If you do run out, you can go over there and fill up.
Yeah. All right, any questions with safety? All pretty straightforward. All right. So we're going to move on to tools. First tool we have here today, and we are definitely going to be using these today, is log tongs. All right, these are really, really simple, really, really effective. So what you can do is you and a buddy, it's kind of like that claw machine game that you used to play as a kid, try to win a stuffed animal, waste all your money, never win. Here at Apache Springs, we can always win because we can always bend down, grab that log, and then Andrew and I can lift this massive log that we could never carry without this to the respective area. So yeah, very, very simple tool. So with the, sometimes they get stuck in there. So with some of the bigger logs, it can be helpful to have 4 people, so 2 log tongs, 2 in the front, 2 in the back, and y'all can go ahead and move those logs. So we're going to be dealing with a lot of logs today. As you can see, we're going to be building these log cabin style slash piles. So we will definitely be moving these all around. Andrew and I, over the last couple of days, have bucked a lot of logs with our chainsaws, so there's a lot of stuff already ready to go. So yeah, last note with these, make sure that you lift with your legs, not your back. Backpacking without a back is just packing. I do not want to send anyone packing with a blown out back. That would kind of suck.
Our next tool that we have at our work site is the bow saw. We have a couple varying size bow saws. All are great for felling trees, bucking trees, and sometimes limbing trees. Felling a tree is the process of taking a tree from standing to flat on the ground. Bucking a tree is the process of taking this nice big tree and then cutting it into small sections like you guys are sitting on, and like what we use for our log piles. The trees, we're going to try to buck our logs to about 4 to 5 feet. As you can see, about roughly what the piles are, like the length of the piles. So when we are using any of our tools with the blade, we want you guys to use the whole entire blade and not just a small amount. don't do this. It's not effective. Use the whole entire blade. Long cuts. We'll get through the log way quicker, way easier. Be less effort for you.
All right, and yeah, with those bow saws and the log tongs, last session we had scouts actually leave a bow saw and a pair of log tongs there. So when we get ready to go, everyone can grab a tool. But if two guys will just not have a tool and walk over without anything, they can grab the ones that are already down on the site. Yeah. All right, so moving on, we got loppers and a brush saw. They're both used for the same thing. Brush saw, very similar to the bow saw. We're going to use these for limbing up our trees. So once we get a tree on the ground, we got to take all those branches off. So we can use the loppers for all the smaller branches. We want to make sure that we're not cutting anything bigger than the handle, because we can break the mechanism up here. So you can see this one is on its way out from people trying to go at massive branches. It doesn't go any further than this, so please don't try to stretch it further than that. It just doesn't. So yeah, loppers, we can use that. So when we use these, we want to make sure that we do a nice flush cut. See that? These kind of suck. I'm gonna set these to the side because they are. We gotta retire them. So yeah. But yeah, make sure we're doing a nice straight cut. We're not twisting or anything like that. And again, nothing bigger than the handle. With the brush saw though, for those branches that are bigger than the handles of our loppers, we can use the brush saws for that. You can go do the same thing. Just cut. Make sure you're using the entire length of that blade, and it's a great tool for that. So when we're carrying these, carrying point down, carrying the brush saw, same thing. I don't want to see any of the one-strap backpacker. Seen it, you know, it may look cool, but we're not here to look cool. I've also seen people walk around like a cane, like they're Stevie Wonder. Not cool. Let's not do that. Let's just carry these nice and point down.
Alright, let's see. This tool right here is probably my favorite tool on the work site besides the chainsaw. But it is called the Fano. It is extremely sharp. It has got a lot of teeth on it. They're facing both ways, so it cuts even better, in my opinion, than some of these brush saws and bow saws. It is pretty good for felling smaller trees and bucking and limbing our trees also. When you carry this, also carry it pointing down to the side, just so you limit any damage to your body if you do fall. We do have 4 Fanos with sheath. Are there 4 there? Yeah. 4 Fanos with sheaths. We ask that you do take, if you're going to take a Fano, grab the ones with the sheaths first. It's easier to keep track of it if you got the sheath. It's got a nice clip you can put on your belt loop. That way, if you're not using it, you can just toss it back in there. You don't have to carry it around with your hands. And as Eric mentioned, this is the pole saw. This is going to be used for limbing trees that we are not going to fell. So, since we're not going to fell this tree, I would come up to it. I can't cut anything else off here because I'm short, but you would come up and you want to take the limb off flush with the trunk of the tree. So I would come up here, cut it right at the edge, limb's gone. Now we have less limbs at this lower height. We don't want to cut too far away from the tree because then we leave what we call coat hangers. Pretty easy to run into, and it's also hard for the tree to heal back over that scar. And then we also don't want to cut into the bark because that's once again hard for the tree to heal over. So it's like nice and flush, the tree can heal back over that scar and it's perfectly fine. When we're carrying this, don't carry it like the Grim Reaper. It's a pretty dangerous way to carry this.
Alright, so do you guys have any questions at all about what we just talked about? Anything? Questions?
Directing the discretion of what gets cut.
Yes. Yep. Yep. Questions, comments, concerns, haikus? Alright, so here's what we're going to do today. For the first portion of the session, Andrew is going to take the Kansas crew, the first one that showed up. You guys are going to go with him. You're going to be sorting stuff out in the front area. And then the rest of y'all are going to come with me. We're going to be working down on this side of the meadow, and we're going to be building some of these log cabins. Sound good? Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead. Everyone hop up.
I just got a quick question. These slash piles, so when do you guys burn them?
In the winter. In the winter,
It'll be a
typically when
couple
the
winters
snow's out, yeah.
to let them dry out. Then they'll come through once they're snow covered and burn them up. Yeah.
Yep.